Okay, let's get into the stock market technical analysis. Let's dive right into the charts. We've got, major technicals on, especially the tech stocks, something going on there. So I definitely want to point that out. If you guys are finding value in the content, drop me a thumbs up. If you're interested in joining the private member group, link in the description below. I post out additional charts, trade setups, lots of trade ideas. I post only in that private member group. So check it out. $5 a month, cancel anytime. Okay, Triple Q is hitting some support today, this morning, at about 511, 510.50-ish, somewhere right in there. You can see we've had several reactions there at that level. Actually, all the reactions at that level except for this one. We're kind of range bound, but there was several reactions at that level right there, except for the low, the bottom of the range down there at 502. So I think we're going to get a bounce here. The reason why I think that is mostly Nvidia. I'll flip over to that. Nvidia is hitting. We have earnings tomorrow for Nvidia. Those come out after the bell. And Nvidia just hit the 200-day moving average, simple moving average again. Undercut it briefly, but you can see that usually on the downside it'll undercut things just to recover and hold. So this is support on Nvidia, and I just don't see the 200 breaking ahead of earnings. Now it might go after earnings, it might break, might gap down or something, but I just don't see it happening before. And it's definitely an elevated trade to take something into earnings because it can go either way. So they like what Nvidia says, you bounce. They don't like what Nvidia says, you probably gap down below the 200. So we will see on that one. But as of right now, it's kind of a gamble to just short it at support of the 200 into earnings. So that is why I believe, and going back to Triple Qs, that's why I believe we probably get a bounce here up to, 519-ish, something like that. I think there's, kind of the top of this candle here would make sense. Could go even higher, up to 525.50 or so, but those are the levels that I've got. If they don't like what Nvidia says, you're probably going to gap down to the bottom of this range here, and then I think you bounce there. All right, 502.50. We're getting to the point. 3 hard days of selling. We've pretty much wiped out the range. Okay, sorry, I had to take a quick break. So I think where I was talking about is the fact that Nvidia is at the 200-day simple moving average. Triple Qs is at some support. It's decent support. I do think we're going lower. I think the way this might work out is a bear flag. So we've had a really impulsive move down now. I do think we could probably flag out over the next couple days, 3-4 days or so, and then continue the impulsive move down, likely to the 200-day moving average, which would be down here at, right now it's sitting at 489, so a push down to there. And then the bulls should, the algos, the bulls, the buy programs should buy that, okay? We haven't hit the 200 since back in August of last year, so likely you'll get a bounce at the 200. Tesla, again, I talked about this being resistance and objective short. It's kind of why I got it marked out. Should push down to the 200-day moving average, which it's down 8% today. There's also an uptrend line to watch. It's kind of a potential uptrend line because I only have 2 reactions, but I've got it marked in blue. Minimum, I think you get it down, hit the 200. Buyers should be sitting there. That's an objective area to buy for sure. So that's that one. Google sitting at the 200. So, again, that's support. Apple's been one of the strong ones. So we'll look for some weakness here. I think you might see a trend, again, that game of whack-a-mole where you have the money moving out of one and into the other of these tech stocks. They kind of go back and forth. You might see that. Again, no sell signals right now on Apple. No definitive breaks of support or anything. So nothing to really scream a short right now on Apple. So I don't know. I don't have a trade here because we could still get that back test and that new divergent high on Apple. I did talk about that. That would be the objective short right up there. If you pop up, make a new divergent high, and backtest this trend line. Microsoft at the bottom of the range. Microsoft's been range bound kind of sideways. Let me extend this out. And right there at support at the bottom of the range. So you've got a lot of tech stocks sitting at support. Meta, again, Meta has this false breakout situation that I talked about. So I talked about this for weeks, how we had this big bearish rising wedge pattern. So that was projecting that we would head lower, but they ramped it up. And to me, this looked like stop raid price action, kind of bear trap or bull trap price action. Sure enough, that's what it is. You know, you can see we've reversed that whole push up. We're back within the wedge. So you're likely heading down to the bottom support right there, about 635-ish. And then maybe you get a little bounce there. You might get a kind of a one-hit wonder bounce where you bounce for a few days. But I think you're going to break the wedge. All right, I don't even know if you get the bounce, to be honest. So we'll see what the rest of the market does. The projected target, again, is the widest part of the wedge on Meta. And that you take that at the point of the breakdown. And yeah, it's going to send us somewhere down around 454 down to about 426. It really depends on when we break that wedge. And with a stop probably at the 200. So probably boom, hit the 200, bounce, maybe even a back test of the wedge, then a continuation down. Amazon breaking down today. I'm not in love with this trend line, but I think there's enough reactions in this red one here to validate it. And we do have a sell signal today. So that's, you know, good sell on Amazon. You're probably heading down to the 200, and then you likely are going to backtest that wedge. That's kind of what I'd be thinking. Because the market looks like it's kind of hitting some support, so I think this could continue to sell, maybe gap down, and then ramp up and do a backtest. So if you're not short, you know, it's objective to short on the breakdown here and cover probably at the 200. Me, preferably, I'd probably just wait for a backtest. You might not get it, though. That's the thing. You know, sometimes the market's been really lopsided. The bulls have been pretty much like complacent. And I know because the comments that I get on my channel, when the market's rallying up and I have like this one right here, I'll just give you an example with the big bearish rising wedge. I see this as a bearish pattern. It's a bearish setup. But when you get price action like this, that's, you know, that's weeks basically of it continuing to go up every single day. And when you get price action like that, the bulls get emboldened and they never see, can't see any downside. So they come out with comments and, you know, now that's all been reversed. So there's a lot of hot air in the market and you could see a rather quick unwinding. To give you an example, let's look at Palantir. This is another one of those ones kind of at support now. So I don't think I'd short it here because you've got some support here. You're probably going to get that bounce. But look, you gapped up on earnings, ramped up. Everything was great. Now, that's all been unwound. I mean, the thing's dropped from that kind of ramp. It's down 30% in a matter of a week, basically. So big moves up, big moves down. At support now, though, so definitely not a short until you break that support. Okay, moving away from the tech stocks, we've got wheat. All right, wheat's looking like, you know, when I look back at the wheat pattern, this is the wheat ETN, it, you know, can pop above the 200 and then sell. That's kind of what they've done so far. Popped it above the 200, then sold it. I don't think it's going too much lower, personally. I don't believe we're going to sell down to the bottom of the range. We have some support here at $5. You can see there's some reactions there. Held that support. We're back down there, or we were at least this morning. So I think that looks good to me. That looks like support. A break below that wouldn't be good. If you break below that, unless it's just intraday, you know, you could dip below it, but you don't want to see daily closes below that. Daily closes below that would likely send us down to make a new divergent low. All right. So that's the downside. That's kind of the levels I'd be watching. I do think it holds here, though. The bullish divergence that's been in play. We've got breakouts in the ag commodity sector. I mean, I think it holds here, and I think we actually start to take out that 200 and move higher. So that's what I'm looking for. Again, we're coming off a sizable divergent low, so it tells me that this this first reaction at the 200, yeah, they step in and sell it down. But we get back up there, and I do think you're going to take it out. So that's the biggest thing I'm looking for. And then these ag commodities sold down, decent sell down. But again, like here's MOS. I've adjusted my line just slightly. It gets a little choppy because if I go to the weekly chart on MOS, we've clearly we still have a breakout. All right, you have this big bullish falling wedge. You've got these candles here. And I've got a couple more reactions there, and now I'm back testing, and we still have that definitive breakout, regardless of how I adjust the trend line on the weekly. This breakout here, these 2 weeks, you can't negate that. That breakout stands. So there is a breakout of this bullish falling wedge pattern. I'm still seeing this as a breakout and a back test, and we have earnings coming out Thursday after the bell. So, whether it probably just continues to grind and back test into earnings, and then I think we're going to gap up on earnings. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. Let me go down to the daily. Again, it just kind of keeps hitting support, and they buy it, and we're just doing that for the last couple days. So I don't see it going much lower. Of course, earnings, anything can happen. It can fail. This breakout could be a false breakout. And if that happens, you're probably going to see a pretty impulsive move back to the bottom of this wedge. All right, all the way down here at 22. All right, so if you see the false breakout, you're likely heading down to about 22-ish. Otherwise, you take the breakout for what it's worth. And you've got bullish divergence. It's a clear bullish setup. So the probability says breakout, back test, a couple back tests for a little while, and then continuation higher. That's the way I'm playing it until proven otherwise. Same with something like NTR. This one doesn't have the same look, but you can see clear bullish falling wedge with bullish divergence. Clearly defined breakout, kind of a back test of the 200. And moving higher. All right, it actually looks to me like this is a bull flag. You've got a flag pull up, you're flagging out, and you've actually, it needs to get going for the bull flag to actually play out, but this sends this thing up much higher. So I don't see any reason to let go of these longs. I like them still. They look good to me. NTR and MOS are two of my favorite. Interest rates breaking down quite a bit today. Another reason why shorts, I did in the private member group, I think it makes sense to probably cover shorts. At least we got to clear Nvidia earnings out. I think we're going to bounce, but we've had a really good sell. I think it makes sense. We've fallen to support on a lot of different large cap tech stocks. I think it makes sense to take profit and kind of let Nvidia earnings clear out of the way. We've also got interest rates breaking down, heading lower. Down, probably going to go down to the 200, and then we'll see where that goes. So that's supportive of the market, especially interest rate sensitive stocks. So we've got something like XHB, home builders, divergent low here. Actually, I'm just charting this. I haven't really looked at it, but I figured it was going to look like kind of a bullish setup if it wasn't already moving. So you've got a divergent low on the momentum indicators. There, we've got interest rates breaking down. We have a downtrend line to watch. So, you'd probably need to see a break of that. But this divergent low is likely going to get bought, all right, especially with interest rates breaking down. So the home builders, I think, are set up for a rally. My target would be the 200 right there at about 111.24. No buy signals yet, so you maybe would need to wait for a break of this downtrend line. But it is a bullish setup for sure. All right, and if you do get that break, it could be a move 5, 6, 7% to the upside. The financials still look weak, so I still like those as shorts. JP Morgan, nice sell today, down 2%. Got some support. It's in an upward channel, so that's pretty obvious. Clear upward channel there. But looks like we're heading down to the bottom of that channel. And there's some support about 249. It's about 240, 249.75-ish, somewhere right in there. But when I look at like KRE, the regional banks, again, nice sell down below that support of 61.72. Next support, it would be that reaction low, and you got the 200-day just below. I like that as support. That, I would want to cover my shorts right there, and I am short this one, so I'm looking for kind of a little bit lower prices on that one. What else do I like? AXP pointed this out to the private member group the other day as an objective trade on the breakdown. I pointed that out back on Thursday last week. So far, that's down from that sell signal 4%, and I think we're heading down. I've got support here at about 285.87. So I think you're going to get a reaction there. All right. Maybe up to here, maybe even a back test. I don't know that, All I know is that looks like resistance to me, 304.50, or obviously the trend line. But I do think we're starting to trend lower. The big uptrend, this is the uptrend in AXP, which is American Express. So this is a big bearish rising wedge. You've got negative divergence. This trend is broken. All right, it's been taken out. Doesn't mean we can't drift sideways, and sideways can put in new divergent highs like that. You can do that. But I just don't see us trending higher. All right, so again, it's objective and it's pretty low risk. If you got the back test of the trend line, it's a very objective trade to take. All right, it's low risk. Doesn't mean it will work, but low risk, high reward kind of trade. So I'd be looking for back tests of resistance for a move down to the 200 and this 267 area for the next kind of objective price target. Although I think we get a bounce, a little lower, bounce down, or it could go do a back test and down, something like that. BlackRock hitting some support, not quite. I mean, support right now, you've just got the one reaction low, but it's a very distinct reaction, and it's about 943.27. However, the 200-day is below as well. Since we've already hit this reaction, I think we maybe hold here for a second, and then we're going to punch down and hit that 200. That's the way I'm leaning. And then support, you should get that reaction. The buyer should step in at the 200. This hasn't actually hit the 200 since all the way back here on November 14th of 2023. So that would be the first reaction of the 200. So the way I'm leaning is hit the 200 and then ramp up for some sort of a back test, probably all the way back up to this 1,000 level. And then it would be objective to short up there. So we cover our shorts at support, initiate shorts at resistance. Again, trending lower. We've got negative divergence, so that's how I'm going to play it. And anybody that's been following me, the objective short was, see this uptrend line? Nice clean channel, negative divergence. So we were looking for a sell signal because it was a bearish setup. Sell signal really came on this breakdown here. Okay, that's sell signal 1. Fell right to some support. Ramped all the way up for a back test of that trend line, objective sell signal number 2. So sell signal 1, sell signal 2. You could have initiated or added to the short at any one of those, and it would have been very objective. For me, I didn't catch it till here on this back test, so I'm in it there, and then it's basically from that sell signal, it's on that back test, it's down 11.5% right now. So a little more downside, and then you probably want to cover those shorts. Okay, that's all I've got for this morning. I'll get the video out. Obviously, I think there's some actionable items going on, so please drop me a thumbs up if you find value. If you don't find value and you're a perma troll, leave your daily comment saying how I'm always wrong, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.